Many of those people, most of those people who become homeless, most of the 35 million who become homeless, lose everything that they have. I'll just give you a few little facts. Cyclone Nagris struck Manila on the 2nd and 3rd of May 2008, sweeping through the delta, leaving around 140,000 people dead or missing, and around 2.4 million people were severely affected, with the cyclone damaging and destroying virtually everything in its path. Around 790,000 houses were damaged and destroyed when the cyclone hit Entia. Villages were wiped out overnight, along with people's main means of making a living: boats, nets, crops, tools and livestock. Entire villages washed away and livelihoods lost. 3 different cyclones. Over 1.7 million people displaced since April this year, resulting from recent offensives in North Pakistan. 2.2 million people displaced since August 2008. Tens of thousands are on the move, hundreds and thousands are displaced, and more than 3 million are in dire need of aid. Not in Pakistan, in Somalia. And Afghawai, just north of Mogadishu, in one offensive, 70,000 people became homeless in a week. So all around the world, all the time, we have continuous catastrophes, man-made, made by nature, made by all sorts of reasons that we discussed, which create homelessness. One of the worst problems of homelessness is it destroys people's resilience. It destroys a lot of people's will to try and carry on, because everything that you've had is gone. Just a couple more facts. Poor countries are 4 times as likely to experience major conflict, and there are 30 active today. There are 8.4 million refugees, mainly hosted in the developing world, where nobody can afford to host them. And natural disasters are 5 times more common than they were just 30 years ago. Can you join me on that one? Shall I lead off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. While we've done that, 2 people in Zimbabwe have died of HIV/AIDS. Well, the 2's just gone. That's how staggering a figure it is, and that's just one country. In one country alone, 1 person dies every 3 minutes. I'm sorry, that figure is global for Africa, not for Zimbabwe. That's for Zimbabwe, 1 every 3 minutes. The average life expectancy in Zimbabwe is 35, and for women that now might be as low as 30. the population has reduced by 4 million in the last 4 years. I mean, that speaks for itself, really. Zimbabwe has the highest number of orphans in relation to population of any country in the world. And as one doctor in Zimbabwe said recently, but simply, people are dying from AIDS before they can starve to death. Oxfam, strange to say, also have a target of looking after some of the issues in Zimbabwe, and in particular cholera. The situation in Zimbabwe at the moment is an inflation rate of 100,000%, the highest in the world. 80% of the population live on less than $1 a day without access to basic commodities such as food and water. And as a result, it's facing a humanitarian crisis of massive proportions, with 5.1 million people, almost half the population, struggling to eat one meal a day. Now, sadly, when it comes to homelessness, most of the world organisations have a solution which is very quick and very effective in trying to manage it. And the answer is canvas and corrugated iron. They build very quickly refugee camps, homeless camps, camps to cover disasters of the type that we see in that picture there. There is a problem. All through the day, in hot areas, you are sweltering hot. You're in conditions which are far worse than this evening, or that we faced over the last couple of days, in an environment which does nothing to improve that if you're under canvas, and if you're under corrugated iron, then you're being roasted in the way that prisoners of war were in the Japanese camps. There we are, assembling some corrugated iron to make some shelter with. The other problem is, in most of these areas, when it comes to night time, the temperature drops dramatically, and then you're in a freezer. There's nothing to protect you against the cool, the cold, and there's nothing to protect you against anything else. Now, the reason for these are they're very quick, they're very efficient. You can actually fly in a load of tents, you can fly in a load of corrugated iron, you can make it up into shelters, you can make tents up very quickly, and you can provide a very quick, short-term solution. Because the reason is, all of these camps and all of these areas are all short-term solutions. We know they're short-term solutions because they've proved to be short-term solutions over the years. That one's been around for about 45, 50 years now. Soweto. And that's another shot of it. Over 2.5 million people living under corrugated iron and canvas. Been living there for longer than most people would have lived in prefabricated houses in this country, which were the temporary accommodation we put for people after the war. That is not a solution to a housing problem. It doesn't do anything to solve the problem of homelessness anywhere. And homelessness, bear in mind, doesn't only occur in all of those types of areas, it also occurs in a lot of areas which one would consider to be more westernised, more modern, more able to accommodate, more housing conscious, more building conscious, more everything else conscious. It still happens all around, right in the middle of communities, all the time. People finish up, for all sorts of reasons homeless.